Tonight, Finance Ministry pegs value of bond tendered in domestic debt exchange program at 82 billion cedis. Also, Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry expresses worry about developments in the economy, saying the ongoing debt restructuring has affected businesses and investor confidence.
It's expected to have dire consequences on already struggling business by making them vulnerable, erode their competitiveness, and lead to massive layoff and potential shutdown.
Also, as we are in the season of love, where people use different means of expressing affection, there's the new trend of gifting. That's the money bouquet. We have a report on it later. I am Beverly Broohm. Please stay for details. Thanks for staying with us. Tonight, the Finance Ministry has pegged the value of bonds tendered in the domestic debt exchange program at almost 83 billion cedis. This was what was captured in an official document released by the ministry just a while ago. It also states that it has extended the settlement date from February 14 to February 21, 2022. We take a look at the statement from the Finance Ministry, and it reads, with the heading, the government announced the successful results of its domestic debt exchange program with approximately 85% participation rate and a new settlement date. And it goes ahead to say that the government announces today the results of our domestic debt exchange program, which closed at 4 p.m. on 10th February 2023. Approximately 85% of holders eligible to participate in the invitation to exchange, as determined by the Central Securities Depository, tendered in the exchange. Now, the government is pleased with the results, as a substantial majority of the eligible holders have tendered. This result is a significant achievement for the government to implement fully the economic strategies in the post-COVID-19 program for economic growth during this current economic crisis. It goes ahead to say that to provide sufficient time to settle the new bonds in an efficient manner, the government is extending the settlement date of the exchange from the previously announced 14th February 2023 to 21st February 2023. The settlement date extension is, however, only to process the settlement of the new bonds. Now, the issue date, interest accrual schedules, and payment schedules for the new bonds will be adjusted to reflect the actual settlement date. As the exchange period has expired, no new tenders will be accepted and no revocation or withdrawals are permitted. Now, the individual pensioner bondholders have insisted that the current form of the domestic debt exchange program does not exempt them, even if they self-exempt. According to the investors, the current form creates an avenue for government to dishonor the bond in the future for pensioner bondholders who choose to self-exempt. Now, government has already announced that it has achieved over 80% target of the subscription for the domestic debt exchange program. Speaking at the Finance Ministry as they picketed at the premises, a former Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission and convener of the individual pensioner bondholders, Dr. Edu Ananientri, said government is not being honest with investors.
If the minister is saying, promising to, the promise is already there. You see, it's just like having given a promise on your wedding day, and every year you want to go and renew the vow. I don't understand. Your vow still stands until the end of your life. So as for the promise is there for the issuer to honor the coupons and the principal on maturity. So it's there. But we are saying for pensioners, exempt us from the program. Because if the issuer exempts you, it is far, far better than you self-exempting yourself. Now we didn't tender our bonds. So we have self-exempted ourselves as a result of the failure of the ministry to do what we need. we are still saying the minister should exempt it. Exempt.
My colleague George Riafe is here to give us some more details on the statements released by the Finance Ministry. George, help us understand the new developments that has come up now.
So this statement is giving us more details on the earlier announcement by the Ministry of Finance. One, you want to look at these bonds that have been tendered, the value of it, and you're looking at almost 83 billion Ghana cedis. That is quite significant in terms of what government has gotten and how it wants to intend to restructure its whole domestic debt exchange program. That is very, very critical. Also, in terms of the settlement, so these are bonds that have been tendered. Government is supposed to take it and give new dates and the payments and how those things will be done. What government is saying in that statement is that instead of doing those arrangements today, looking at how things was done, they need some extra time to do the settlement. You're looking at somewhere around February 21, where all those fine details will be given to all those individuals that have participated in this program for that settlement to be done. You're reading a very, very important point. That was a point 3, where it was talking about provide some sufficient time, the settlement and all the rest. The date has been moved from, when you look at that, 14th February to 21st February. And these issue dates, interest, accrual, schedules, and payment for the new bond to be adjusted to reflect the settlement date as the action program period has expired. And there's one critical thing, that no new tenders will be accepted. That in terms of, people are still thinking that with respect to what is going on, people can still come in, and it appears that might not be done. But let's move to the point 4, and it says that what? In addition, since we have received expressions of interest from other stakeholders to participate in a similar exchange. Now, that is very interesting, because who are those other stakeholders? Government is modifying a 6-month clear market provision of the new bonds as set forth in the exchange to clarify such clear market. So it appears that there were some people who were not part of this whole arrangement that want another window being open for them to come in. Who are those people? We don't know. And maybe as time goes on, government might tell us. It'll be interesting to see whether these are individual bondholders, these are pensioners, or these are other maybe commercial banks or finance houses that didn't have an opportunity to be in this whole program. If you go down to also to point 5, and it says that the outstanding principal amount presented in the press release differ from the outstanding principal amount in the exchange program. It's interesting. So again, it appears when you look at what was presented to the commercial banks or whatever, there's again been some revision here. And Beverly, it's critical because this is a legal document. So you might want to set all those things clear before the door or the window is closed. It says that the amount held by persons that following the announcement of the exchange program and the eligible bonds to treasury bills. I mean, so if you go down again, there were people who were questioning on what basis did government actually tell us that they've gotten 82%. So people were questioning the approach used and all the rest. Now, this appendix or table has given a breakdown of each of those government papers and the amount that was tendered in terms of the years, the maturity dates, and all those things, the amount and the percentage-wise. And for some of the papers, you had about 100% outstanding in terms of the amount that was put in. And that was interesting. So it tells you that there were some individual bondholders that did participate in this offer, a chunk of institutional bondholders and all those things. And if you go down as well, it gives you the amount, as in looking at somewhere around 82.9 billion Ghana cedis. And if you express this in percentage terms, it gives you 84.9. Let's round that up. You're looking at somewhere around 83 billion Ghana cedis. And as at Friday or even Thursday, we were hearing about 90 billion Ghana cedis and giving you about 86%. So it appears that maybe some exemptions again had been granted or whatever. So these results will give us the various papers and the amount that was tendered in. So if you're an actuarist, if you're a statistician, and you still want to scrutinize the numbers, you can still have the opportunity to scrutinize the numbers. So those who are also waiting for the settlement being today, when they are going to be paid, the new bonds, the maturity dates, and all the rest. Government is saying, or the Ministry of Finance is saying, that they need some extra days to finalize this, and that will be February 21. And if you get back to the point 4 again, that's the question people will be asking, that what does that mean in terms of stakeholders that were not part of this offer, and they want to have an opportunity to be part in this offer as well? Who are these stakeholders? Everybody wants to get some clarity on that one and what that actually means, Beverly.
And do you think government would open another window for these stakeholders to join?
We still need some clarity on that one. So who are these persons that want to actually be in this offer that didn't have an opportunity to participate in this program? It's interesting, and I think that we still need clarity on that one. But again, what we are seeing is that some individual bondholders did participate in this offer and hitting about 83 billion Ghana cedis. That is quite interesting.
Thank you so much. George Riafe is my colleague on the business desk. Let's still stay on the domestic debt exchange program, as the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is expressing worry about developments in the economy, saying the ongoing debt restructuring has affected businesses and investor confidence. Speaking at an inauguration of the Council of the Chamber today, its President Clement Osayamwako said the economic crisis is affecting repayment of loans by businesses, amongst others.
The Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is unhappy of the instability in the economy, saying it has increased the cost of doing business. Clement Osayamwako is the president of the chamber.
The persistent increase in the policy rate by the central bank has also resulted to a high lending rate averaging 40% and also affecting loan payments as banks have upward reviewed their contractual loan pricing. The recent upward adjustment in utility tariffs, that is 29.96% for electricity and 8.3% for water, is expected to have dire consequences on already struggling business by making them vulnerable, erode their competitiveness, and lead to massive layoff and potential shutdowns.
His Lordship, Justice Stephen Opong, Justice for the Court of Appeal, sworn in 39 council members.
Now, away from the domestic debt exchange program, Tullow Oil PLC has announced that Tullow Ghana Limited has filed a request for arbitration with the International Chamber of Commerce in London in respect of 2 disputed tax assessments received from the Ghana Revenue Authority. In a notice to the investors, the oil giant said the assessments relate to the disallowance of loan interest reductions for the fiscal year 2010 to 2020 and proceeds received by Tullow Oil PLC under Tullow's corporate business interruption insurance policy. The request for the arbitration have been filed in accordance with the dispute resolution process set out in the petroleum agreements which govern Tullow Ghana Limited's activities in Ghana. Well, joining me via Zoom is energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Sulemana to share his technical point of view on this. Thank you so much, Doc, for your time. Do you think such tax disputes hurt the chances of Ghana attracting investors into the petroleum upstream sector?
Yeah, thank you very much, Beverly, for having me, and good evening to you and your cherished viewers in Ghana and across the globe. Yeah, indeed, you have to look at it in 2 perspectives. I believe it has both positive, connotations and potential negative connotations. I'll start with the positive. The positive is that, or the positive thing about the whole thing is that investors could see this as a way that, if there is a dispute and there's an avenue to be able to resolve the dispute, I think that's the way to go. And I think that is very commendable to the extent that they have found an avenue in the petroleum, management, document that we have that manages our petroleum activities at the upstream. That is commendable. And so in that case, an investor coming in will say that, okay, if I'm in Ghana and I have dispute, I have an opportunity to be able to resolve it amicably. Then the second aspect is also the negative aspect is the fact that some investors could look at it this way. Is it that GRA is just unnecessarily getting on Tullow just to extort them or just to disturb them? And of course, upstream players will not like tax dispute. Any upstream player will not like tax dispute, because they don't want anything to vitiate, to vitiate their focus in their core business, which is exploration and production. So to that extent, I think we have to tread cautiously, and I'm happy that this is going the way it is going. But I would have wished that this was resolved without going through these processes. Albeit the process is still a legitimate means, which I said is good for some investors' perspective. Now, the key thing is, as a player, how does it impact the industry in the way, in general, especially in Ghana of a sort? As much as GRA has every right to go after every CD, that is going to them, we also have to be mindful of the fact that, we need to treat these IOCs with respect. That doesn't mean that whatever belongs to Ghana, we should not go for it. It's not that I'm wronging GRA for going there. I'm just saying that we have to strike the balance, to make sure that they are given the avenue to explain to them the reason behind this allowance. It is very interesting to see this coming up. Under what condition was this allowed? That is very interesting to know. Under what condition was it allowed? And I'm saying that as an upstream player, looking at the fact that I know investment into the world of hydrocarbon is dwindling. That's why the fact that hydrocarbon is trading, or crude oil is trading in record high, like 85, we haven't had that much of investment going into world of hydrocarbon for obvious reasons, because of competition with respect to green energy and renewables. So you will wish your players to stay focused, and to concentrate on whatever they are doing. However, like I mentioned, I'll still come to the fact that I'm not saying GRA shouldn't go for whatever belongs to them. But overall, I think they should still go through dialogue. If there's an opportunity to resolve this, out of court, I think that would be much, much preferable.
But what should be the approach by the Ghana Revenue Authority, do you think?
Yeah, so I believe that I don't know whether deep and in-depth engagement was done in this whole thing. My understanding, the way I look at it, it looks like something was a gray area in a way that the two parties want to explore. Because why will you disallow something or why will you allow something and then at a point in time then you disallow it? It's either a way of like a gray area that wasn't known to the two parties. Then it calls to this kind of agreement that we signed. We need to ensure that there is clarity in this kind of agreement, that especially this kind of tax regime. So going forward, what do I expect GRA to do? I think GRA need to come up and then explain to the players whatever methodology that they are using. The players have to be able to understand and appreciate the methodology that GRA is using. And I think if they appreciate that methodology, I believe these court actions will not be necessary. So my recommendation, once again, GRA has to sit down. They should still go ahead and negotiate. Come and negotiate with TALO to come to a gentleman agreement. If it is a way of even sharing the burden, I think that is the way to go. But I just don't want us to drag this into the international scene, where people will read different meanings into it. I don't think that is the best.
But on a bit of having a GRA come or meet with TALO to negotiate, it has been said that TALO ignored all the internal measures of the GRA and went straight to the international tribunal. What do you think of this?
Well, if that's the case, that is unfortunate. I don't think that is the right thing to do. I believe in TALO. I know TALO existence in Ghana has been a win-win situation. Ghana has been one of their best producing assets in wherever they find themselves. So TALO per se, they should understand that, Ghana is a country that is a win-win for Ghana and that of TALO. And so to this extent, we have to look at it this way. They still have to open up to engage GRA. If they haven't engaged GRA and they've gone straight to to the international scene to resolve it, I think that is quite unfortunate. And I think I'll call on TALO to still find avenues to engage with GRA or the other party, in this case GRA, to resolve it. I think that's the best way. Resolving it locally or resolving it within our remit is far, far better than taking it to the international court of jurisdiction or arbitration.
We leave it here. Thank you so much. Dr. Yusuf Suleimana is an energy strategist. Now, still to come on the show this evening as we... Thanks for staying with us. We take a look at some other stories now. We are in the season of love where people use different means of expressing affection towards their partners. Some people love chocolate, others prefer teddy bears and flowers, but there are those who go the extra mile to get their loved ones money bouquet. So how lucrative is this business? Here's a report. And that's how we end Business Live tonight. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broohm. Enjoy the rest of our programs.